What is up, you guys? Thank you for watching this Spade Shades video. First off, I want to say thank you for being patient, and I want to thank everyone who has been subscribing since I've been absent and continuously supporting me. I really appreciate all of that, and it's really motivated me to do a lot more. Recently, I've just been going through employment changes and some life things that have kind of conflicted with my video schedule, but I'm tentatively saying that things are back to normal, and you should be expecting a lot more videos from me now, and more of a social media presence than I've had. And quickly, before I get into the final part in the spring 2015 variety box review, I want to say that I have my own Twitch channel now, which is under a separate identity from the Spade Shades identity. It's my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Necronami. If you like video games, you like watching people play video games, and you like that whole sort of thing, I've got my own channel now. I'm trying to stream as much as possible, and I would really appreciate it if you guys would head on over there and hit the follow button and maybe check out my stream. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, what I'm going to say before I start is that these decks being the top 3 decks in this box, they're going to be these are the best decks. These are some of the best decks ever made, in my opinion. And so all of their ratings are going to be 5 out of 5. Handling and design-wise, for me, 5 out of 5s all across the board, simply because they're just the best decks. I mean, they really are. These 3 decks are, in my opinion, for the experienced magician, for the experienced cardist, if you want a good deck of cards, these are your 3 choices. I mean, this is like the top of the crop type thing. So if you don't agree with my ratings on some of these, I'm sorry. Like, if you don't agree with that the design might be 5 out of 5 or handling might be 5 out of 5, as I've said before in the past few videos, it really just comes down to personal flavor on this one, my personal taste for these decks, and I honestly think that these are the 3 best decks in the market. And if you're looking to spend about $15 on a really great deck of cards, I mean, here's, these are the 3. So let's get into number 3. It's going to be the Virtuoso 2015 edition. Now, this deck was designed by Virtuoso in Singapore and made in the US, distributed by theverts.com. And this is the Spring Summer Edition 2015. Now, you can see from the deck box, there's been plenty of reviews over this deck on YouTube, so I'm sure you're familiar with it, and you'll understand really why this deck is so favorited among cardists, because it was just a deck designed simply for cardists. Now, the one thing I will say that is the coolest about this deck is this added little feature in here that your 4 advertisement cards that you get complete a big version of the little card, which is just something that you haven't seen before and really gets a lot of huge points for me in the design aspect. So with that being said, you can see the back design, and I'm sure you can understand why it's favorited among cardists, because it was a deck designed by cardists and for cardists. If you fan it one way, it reveals the orange color, and then fanning it the opposite way reveals the blue color. So a deck really designed for cardists, really fantastic in design. You can see that instead of being your red and black, you now have green and blue. And this is something that they have carried over through every edition. I believe this is the 3rd edition in the Virtuoso kind of series, or the Virtuoso deck, I should say, the brand. And you can see the face cards here are definitely different. The Ace of Spades here, everybody's favorite card, always. You can see that there. And I think you can understand just by looking at it why it's favorited among cardists, and even magicians. I would even go so far as to perform a few more gimmicked tricks with this deck. But moving into handling, you can hear the crispiness of the stock, and it's the perfect thickness for me. It's just thin enough to spring really well and not bend, and it's thick enough to retain its shape. So really great stock. The finish is, I mean, obviously great. So 5 out of 5 handling and a 5 out of 5 design on that one. So that is the Virtuoso deck at number 3. Number 2 is going to be the Dan and Dave Smoke and Mirrors V7. Obviously created by Dan and Dave, distributed by Dan and Dave. This deck has some design elements that I really like, but it's not as nearly as flashy and customized as the Virtuoso deck, and that might be something that people disagree with as far as me placing it this high. But as you can see, you get a blank card, you get a Dan and Dave advertisement card, and then you get 2 jokers, which in my opinion are some of the best jokers in any deck of cards. They're just fantastic. And your red cards are more of a burgundy color, and the face cards are kind of simplified, where there's not as much detail and lining and stuff in their regalia, and it's recolored to match the rest of the deck as being a gray, black, and a maroon type thing. And this comes down to kind of a personal taste, because maroon is being my favorite color. I just really like the way the deck looks, the way it feels, and kind of the way it looks gives kind of a classical. That was just dumb. It gives it kind of a classy feel to it. Kind of, I guess, sort of like a 1940s back of the poker house, you know, mafia or something. I don't know. It feels that way. You know, it feels like Vegas to me. You know, Vegas, baby. And it's just absolutely a fantastic deck. I love this deck. This is probably my favorite. Well, no, I won't say that. Because number 1 is my favorite deck in this entire box, but this deck is one of my favorites. I use this one more than any other deck in the box, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because it's just fantastic. It works in any situation, whether you're performing Magic or doing cardistry. It looks good at anything. So yeah, that is the Dan and Dave V7 deck at number 2, with a 5 out of 5 in handling and a 5 out of 5 in design for me, because of the way it feels, because it has that classy look, and because of the jokers and all that. So moving on into number 1, as some people may have guessed it, we have the classic Aristocrats. Now, to anyone who has any of these classic Aristocrats, they're probably going to say, why is it up here? Design is like nothing on this deck. There's nothing really custom about it, and that's true. That is absolutely true. This deck places number 1 for me because of its rarity. There's only 1,000 of these, and that's one thing that pushed it up to the top, because the rarer the deck is, the more treasured it is, and you know, it's going to be, in my opinion, if a deck is rare and they only made 1,000 of them, those 1,000 are probably really, really good, you know, especially if you're buying from a company like Dan and Dave. Those thousand decks are going to be really, really fantastic. So here you get a casino card. This is, well, it's not a casino card. This is a date card on the date that this deck was actually printed, and it is September 7th, 2004 when this deck was printed. So these decks are 11 years old, and to handle as well as they do is just absolutely amazing. An interesting fact, each one of these decks was pulled out separately, one by one, and given 2 thumb fans by Dan and Dave to ensure that there were no imperfections. So that's a nice little tidbit there. And you get a joker and another joker, and that's it, just 3 cards. So here you have your ace of spades. You can see that, a really nice regal ace of spades. And like I said, the design element on this deck, I mean, people are going to look at it and say, you know, there's nothing special about the design of this deck. Why does it have a 5 out of 5 in design? And again, it comes down to personal flavor, and it's because of the back design. If you've watched my channel and watched any of my videos, I'm sure you've seen me talk about borderless backs and full bleed backs more times than I've talked about any other back design probably, and it's because it's my favorite, because it has a casino feel to it, but it's perfect for doing sleight of hand. You can do second deals like nobody else with this deck, or with decks like this, and it incorporates something else that I like, is having emblems on the back, 2 singular pictures or designs or emblems or logos or whatever it is, one on top and one on bottom. Even though it's simplistic on some decks, say like the Rounders or something, it's very simplistic, and some people think it's kind of a cop-out for designing. I think it looks really classy, it looks really good, and it's something that comes across really well to laymen and is really easily accepted by laymen. You know, if I pulled out the Virtuoso deck to laymen and performed a trick, they might think, well, those are some strange cards you got there. Maybe there's something tricky with them. With a deck like this, like the Aristocrats or the Rounders, they're just going to think that it's some specialty deck of cards, like some luxury deck, but not necessarily that it's a trick deck, because of how simplistic it is and it's easy to accept. So that is the main reason why these Aristocrats place so highly for me, as far as design goes. And with handling, I mean, they didn't get to #1 for no reason. They have a linen finish, a perfect stock. Linen finish is my favorite type of finish personally, and the stock, like I said, is just absolutely fantastic. So I didn't put them at #1 for no reason. When I say this is honestly the best deck of cards I've ever handled, I mean that, and I would put my gold seal on it, and you know, my seal of approval, saying that this deck is the best deck of cards I have ever owned, and I'm confident it's the best deck I will ever own. So yeah, that's the classic Aristocrats. And with all that being said, I want to reiterate, thank you guys so much for just being supportive and accepting with me as I've kind of struggled with putting up videos here, and content has been a little lacking. I really, really appreciate the continued support, and it means the absolute world to me. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video. If you watched every video in this series, a huge thank you to you specifically for supporting me and watching every video. Not a lot of people would want to sit there and, you know, watch 4 videos that are all like 10 minutes apiece, just over some deck of cards, and watch just some guy talk about them. So I really appreciate the support. If you like the video or any of the videos in this series or on my channel, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe below. I would really appreciate it. If you drop a comment and you leave me your email or message me or leave me your phone number or something, I'd be more than happy to contact you and just get to know you. I'd like to get to know my viewers. So thank you guys so much again. And we're at 75 subscribers on the channel now. When we hit 100, I'm going to be doing something special. So thank you guys so much again, and I will see you in the next one.